6 Golden Age stars who were destroyed by drugs. The Golden Age of Hollywood looked flawless on the surface. Bright lights, timeless beauty, and stars who seemed larger than life. Audiences believed these actors had everything: fame, money, and perfect lives. But behind the cameras, the reality was far darker. Studio pressure, endless schedules, and emotional isolation pushed many stars toward drugs as a way to cope. What started as stress relief slowly turned into addiction. And addiction doesn't care about fame. It destroys careers, reputations, and lives. In this video, we're uncovering the shocking true stories of 6 Golden Age stars who had the world at their feet, but lost everything to drugs. These aren't rumors or myths. These are verified stories Hollywood tried to hide. Stay until the end, because each downfall reveals a brutal truth about fame that still exists today. Actor number 1, Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was not just a Hollywood actress, she was the ultimate symbol of the Golden Age. Her face was everywhere: movie posters, magazines, newspapers. To the world, she represented beauty, success, and happiness. Millions believed she was living a dream life. But behind closed doors, Marilyn was fighting a battle no one could see. From the beginning of her career, Hollywood studios controlled everything: her image, her roles, her behavior, and even her emotions. She was expected to be perfect at all times. Long shooting hours, constant public attention, and extreme pressure slowly took a toll on her mental health. Marilyn struggled with insomnia, anxiety, and deep insecurity, despite her fame. Instead of offering real support, doctors prescribed her powerful drugs. Barbiturates were given to help her sleep, while amphetamines were used to keep her energetic and focused on set. At first, these drugs helped her survive Hollywood's brutal demands. But over time, her body and mind became dependent. Marilyn couldn't sleep without pills. She couldn't function without stimulants. As her addiction worsened, her behavior became unpredictable. She started arriving late to sets, missing shoots, and forgetting lines. Studios that once worshipped her began calling her difficult. The same system that created her image slowly turned against her. Marilyn became isolated, misunderstood, and emotionally exhausted. In August 1962, at just 36 years old, Marilyn Monroe was found dead from a drug overdose. The world was shocked. A woman adored by millions had been destroyed quietly by addiction and pressure. Her death exposed the dark side of Hollywood's Golden Age, a place where stars were celebrated publicly but abandoned privately. Marilyn Monroe's story is not just a tragedy. It's a warning. Fame doesn't protect you from pain, and drugs don't heal wounds, they only hide them until it's too late. Actor number 2, Judy Garland. Judy Garland was one of the most talented performers Hollywood had ever seen. She became a worldwide star as a teenager after The Wizard of Oz, and her voice, screen presence, and emotional depth made her unforgettable. To audiences, Judy was magical. But behind the scenes, her life was anything but. From a very young age, Judy was controlled by Hollywood studios. She was overworked, underfed, and constantly judged. Studio executives dictated her weight, her appearance, and her behavior. To keep her performing long hours, doctors introduced her to amphetamines to stay awake and barbiturates to sleep. At the time, this practice was considered normal in Hollywood, but for Judy, it became a lifelong trap. As the years passed, her body and mind became dependent on these drugs. Judy struggled with severe anxiety, depression, and emotional instability. She couldn't perform without stimulants, and she couldn't rest without sedatives. What began as medical support slowly destroyed her physical and mental health. Despite her talent, studios labeled her unreliable. She was fired from major projects, her reputation suffered, and her career declined. The same industry that had made her famous now pushed her aside. Judy faced financial problems, failed marriages, and overwhelming loneliness. In 1969, at just 47 years old, Judy Garland died from an accidental drug overdose. Her death shocked the world and exposed a cruel truth about Hollywood's golden age: child stars were used, exploited, and discarded without protection. Judy Garland's story is heartbreaking because it was avoidable. She didn't choose fame, it was forced on her. And the drugs that were meant to help her survive Hollywood ultimately became the reason she couldn't escape it. Actor number 3, River Phoenix. River Phoenix was one of the most talented and promising actors Hollywood had seen in decades. By the age of 23, he had already delivered powerful performances in films like Stand By Me, Running on Empty, and My Own Private Idaho. Critics praised his depth, sensitivity, and natural ability, calling him the future of serious cinema. To fans, River represented intelligence, creativity, and hope, a rare star who seemed different from the rest. But behind the success, River was struggling to cope with the pressure of early fame. He grew up in an unstable environment and entered the entertainment industry at a very young age. As his career grew, so did the expectations. Hollywood exposed him to a lifestyle where drugs were easily accessible and often normalized. What began as experimentation slowly turned into dependency. Unlike many celebrities, River avoided Hollywood parties and media attention. He tried to live privately, focusing on music and activism. However, addiction doesn't need the spotlight to grow. His substance use became more dangerous over time, mixing multiple drugs without fully understanding the risks. Friends later admitted they underestimated how serious his condition had become. On October 31, 1993, River Phoenix collapsed outside a nightclub in Los Angeles after taking a lethal combination of drugs. He suffered seizures on the sidewalk and was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. He was just 23 years old. River Phoenix didn't fade away, he was cut off at his peak. His death shocked the world and left Hollywood mourning a talent that would never be fully realized. His story is a painful reminder that drugs don't just destroy careers, sometimes, they destroy the future itself. Actor number 4, Wallace Reed. Wallace Reed was one of the brightest stars of Hollywood's silent film era. Known as the screen's perfect leading man, Reed's charm, athleticism, and boyish good looks made him a fan favorite. Audiences admired his energy, charisma, and seeming invincibility. On screen, he was flawless. Off-screen, however, his life told a much darker story. During a film shoot, Reed suffered a serious injury that made it difficult to continue working. To manage the pain, studio doctors prescribed morphine, a common solution at the time, though little was known about the dangers of addiction. Reed relied on the drug not for pleasure, but to perform demanding schedules and maintain his status as Hollywood's top leading man. What began as pain management soon spiraled into full-blown dependency. As his tolerance grew, so did the amount he needed just to get through the day. His once vibrant personality became erratic and fragile. Friends and co-stars noticed mood swings, exhaustion, and a decline in performance. The studio, which had once celebrated him, began pressuring him to keep working despite his worsening condition. But Wallace couldn't escape the grip of addiction. Tragically, in 1923, Wallace Reed died at just 31 years old from complications related to morphine addiction. His death shocked Hollywood and its fans, exposing a grim reality behind the glamour. Even the most adored stars were not immune to drugs. Wallace Reed's story stands as a haunting reminder that fame and success cannot protect someone from addiction, and that the pressures of Hollywood can sometimes destroy even the brightest talents. Actor number 5, Chris Farley. Chris Farley was one of the most energetic and beloved comedians of the 1990s. Best known for his outrageous sketches on Saturday Night Live and his roles in hit movies like Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, Farley's physical comedy, infectious energy, and larger-than-life personality made him an instant fan favorite. Audiences couldn't get enough of his wild humor and charismatic presence. But behind the laughter was a man battling inner demons. From an early age, Chris struggled with insecurity, body image issues, and anxiety. His rise to fame brought immense pressure to maintain his persona as the funniest guy on stage, often forcing him to push his body to the limits during physically demanding performances. To cope with stress, exhaustion, and emotional pain, Farley turned to drugs and alcohol. What started as casual use gradually escalated into dependency. Despite his comedic genius, Chris's addiction began affecting his work and personal life. Friends and co-stars noticed erratic behavior, missed rehearsals, and increasing instability. Hollywood studios, though supportive publicly, were limited in helping him face the severity of his struggles. Farley's battles were largely hidden from the media, but the pressure of maintaining his public image intensified his private pain. Tragically, on December 18, 1997, at the age of 33, Chris Farley was found dead in his Chicago apartment from a drug overdose, including cocaine and morphine. The world mourned a talented comedian whose infectious laughter could light up any room. His death highlighted a harsh truth: fame and talent can't shield anyone from addiction. Chris Farley's story serves as a cautionary tale about the cost of masking pain with drugs and the hidden struggles behind even the happiest faces. Actor number 6, Barbara Payton. Barbara Payton was one of Hollywood's brightest stars in the early 1950s. Known for her stunning looks, magnetic screen presence, and sultry performances, she seemed destined for lasting fame. Films like Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye showcased her talent and charm, making her a household name almost overnight. Audiences adored her, and Hollywood studios initially saw her as the next big leading lady. But behind the glamour, Barbara's life was unraveling. From the start, Barbara faced immense pressure to maintain her beauty, image, and career. Studio executives dictated her every move, and the constant scrutiny made her vulnerable to unhealthy coping mechanisms. She began using alcohol and drugs to manage stress, maintain energy for shoots, and navigate her chaotic personal life. What started as a way to cope slowly became a dangerous addiction. Barbara's relationships and career suffered as her dependency grew. She made headlines for failed marriages, public scandals, and erratic behavior. Roles disappeared, opportunities vanished, and the same public that once admired her began to criticize her. Despite her beauty and talent, Hollywood eventually turned its back. Addiction had taken control, destroying her health, career, and reputation. By the time she passed away in 1967 at just 39 years old, Barbara Payton's life had become a cautionary tale. Her story reveals the harsh truth about Hollywood's golden age: fame and beauty alone cannot protect someone from the destructive power of drugs. Barbara's rise and fall stand as a stark warning: behind every glamorous smile, there can be hidden pain, desperation, and loss.